Okay, we're ready. Hi, y'all. Doherty County is so pretty, and I love Albany. It is the neatest place. I haven't been here before. I don't know why. I've been to a lot of places in South Georgia, but first time actually staying in Albany, and I was so amazed because it's just such a pretty place, and you can park on the street. That's the coolest thing. Let me tell you a little bit about the Local Government Services Division, and I want to start by showing this little grid of DOR. You know, so many years ago, the Georgia Department of Revenue was divided by tax type. So there was a sales tax division, a property tax division, income tax division, and now the department is not really divided that way. It's more by functionality. So if you look at the screenshot here, you see that, of course, that Commissioner Riley is our chief. She's the person in charge, and then we have our deputy commissioner, Scott Graham, in one area, and a chief tax officer. I didn't get her name in there, but that's Stacy Guest. So the chief tax officer is in charge of taxpayer services, auditing, and compliance, collections, that type of thing. Then over on the special tax side, we've got the property tax. What the old property tax division is included in local government services, and then we also are in charge of distributing tax to the local governments. So we're not the collecting section of revenue, we're the distributing section of revenue. Just kind of give you a little idea of where alcohol and tobacco and local government services are in the big scheme there. So the Local Government Services Division has 5 sections. We have a Georgia Certification Program, that's a training unit, the Public Utility section, the Unclaimed Property section, the Distribution section, and the Property Tax Digest Compliance section. And I want to tell you a little bit about a few of them, and I brought 2 managers with me today that are going to give you more in-depth on the distributions and the digest compliance. So the Georgia Certification Program manager is Mark Loyd, and we have a statutory requirement to train certain local county tax officials. Those are the code sections that require us to do that training. Tax commissioners and their staff, boards of assessors, tax appraisers, boards of equalization, county hearing officers, and now, pursuant to House Bill 202, the assessment vendors who do appraisal work for county tax commissioners are required to get training from DOR. We offer regional training all over the state. We're constantly doing through this section in LGS training, and some of that training might be of use to you and your staff, and you're certainly, although we don't have a statutory duty to train municipal folks, you certainly are welcome to attend that training as well. So I've highlighted in red print those classes that might be of interest to you or your staff, and that would be a 2.5-day class on delinquent tax collection that'll take you from taxpayers late paying all the way through property sold on courthouse steps and then redeemed after the tax sale. So that's a really good class. Digest submission, while most of that is geared towards the tax commissioner complying with the regulations of DOR, it does get into establishing a levy and, you know, doing the proper advertising and that type of thing. Exemptions, we offer a class on the various exemptions. Everything is taxable unless it's specifically exempt by law, and you'd be surprised how many specific exemptions there are in the law. Also, bankruptcy is a real touchy subject, so you have to do that perfectly. And we usually pull in an attorney and a bankruptcy trustee to help us teach that when we do that one. On the assessor's training, probably not as much that you would be interested in, although the special assessments like conservation use, forest land, historical property, brownfield property might be of interest to you. Exemptions would be of interest to you. And then maybe the GIS. We have a software, a class where we teach assessors to use their CAMA system and their mapping system together and do certain analyzing routines. Something that might be of use to you is to learn some type of routine with that CAMA system data in your county to make sure that you're getting credit for all the property located within your jurisdiction. Sometimes you'll see that not everything has got the right coding, district coding in it, and all of a sudden somebody in the middle of town isn't getting taxed as if they were in your city. So there's a lot of analyzing that you could do to help clean things up. We teach boards of equalization, and we have some online training. We have 8 hours of online training now that would be beneficial, even though it's geared for a county member of a county board of equalization. It would be helpful if you had a new staff member that didn't know a lot about property tax. It would be the basics of property tax, so it would be helpful to that person. And by June of 2016, we're going to have 20 hours of online training. 4 hours is going to be on exempt property, 4 hours on special assessments, the conservation use, historical, brownfield, that type of thing. 4 hours for county hearing officers, and then this 8-hour basics for the Board of Equalization. So that could be helpful to people that you're trying to get up to speed. County hearing officers are required to take 8 hours initially and then 4 hours annually. We do 2 big seminars with the Carl Vinson Institute for tax commissioners and tax assessors annually, just to give them an update. That's done in May. We do that to give them an update on what just passed at the General Assembly so they know how to react quickly. We also have an annual short course training session in November, I think, pretty sure. We're working on it. We're going to have that at that convention center in Macon, so it's conveniently located next November. And we will be offering that delinquent tax collection class there. It would be 2.5 days. The next section of the Local Government Services Division is the Public Utility section. Chuck Nazerian is the manager over that section. His job is to ensure that all the public utility properties and railroads get appraised. The Public Utility Digest for 2015 was approved by the State Board of Equalization November 2015, and those appraisals were sent to your county tax assessor on the same day. So the assessor has to set the level of assessment. You know, in Georgia it's 40%, but if they don't meet a 38 or better percentage of assessment, then they have to assess the utilities at the same level as everybody else in the county. So November 3rd, we sent the assessments or the appraisals to your county assessor. They should have met by now and set that level of assessment, and then also sent that notice out to the public utility company. So they're receiving appeals now. It could be time now for you to send the final bill for 2015 to your public utilities. How many of you do your own billing in your city? Not many of you. You let you're letting your county tax commissioner collect on your behalf. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. So the public utility values are about to be billed out, final values for 2015. We value 7, did I get that right? Yeah, we value 7 electric power companies, 26 gas companies, 75 telecommunication companies, and that's the landline telecommunication division, because the definition of public utility in the law is so old, it does not include the wireless stuff. It didn't contemplate the wireless. So your local assessor is doing the wireless stuff, we're doing the landline stuff. 9 pipelines, 50 EMCs, 37 flight equipment companies, and 26 railroads. So we do all those appraisals, send them out to your local assessor so they can include it on the property tax digest. We work the appeals. If any of these companies file an appeal, they're filing an appeal to the Fulton County Superior Court or to the Georgia Tax Tribunal. So we handle the valuation appeals on these. Although you can get a local appeal on the level of assessment, we don't handle those. You know all those trains you see going down the track? Not all of the cars on the train are owned by the railroad. There's over 200 rail car companies, international, all over the world, that own the cars that are on that track. And so we assess those rail car companies and send them a bill, collect that money and then disperse it to you. Okay, so your assessor or your tax commissioner are not doing those individual cars. And we distribute directly to the cities in this case. So if you're in the Ware County, there's a big presence of railroad, a big presence of rail car companies, and so the tax distributed to you by DOR is a little bit higher than in other jurisdictions. We also disperse Tennessee Valley Authority payment in lieu of tax. If you're a North Georgia County up at the Tennessee border, you receive a payment in lieu of tax from the Tennessee Valley Authority, which is a federal entity. They distribute, they pay that money or send that money to the Revenue Department monthly, and then our public utility section distributes it to the county, cities, and school quarterly in that jurisdiction. Up in that area, they have very low millage rates, probably because of absentee owners, high property values, and the TVA money. So I think up in that area, Towns County, overall school counties millage rate is like 13 mills. So they're able to really offset the property tax. Catoosa County, Fannin County, big distributions of the TVA pilot payments. We also collect Public Service Commission fees from the public utility companies, and that's deposited into the general fund. Any questions you guys have, just ask away. We can do this real conversational style. Unclaimed property section is also in local government services. Steve Harbin is the manager. The unclaimed property division is responsible for receiving holder reports of property that is unclaimed, like utility deposits. Maybe you guys have utility deposits and need to return that to a property owner, but they've moved away and you can't find them. So it stays on, that type of income might stay on your books. You can't use it, but that would be something that you would remit to the state after you've done a diligent search for those people to return their money, and you can't find them, and the holding period has expired, 5 years for that. You would remit that to the state, and we've got some directions on that in a minute. All kinds of properties are remitted to the unclaimed property section. Insurance proceeds, money in a bank. Now that we've had an economic downturn, people get disconnected from their bank. The bank fails, goes into receivership, the person moves away. They become disconnected with their money in the bank or their safe deposit box contents, and those things eventually will come to the state, should be reported to the state. On average, we liquidate about $17 million a year in securities. We have a portfolio that's probably around 80 million, better than 80 million in securities. We receive about 165 million a year in cash, insurance claims, payroll checks, all kinds of things that cannot be returned to the rightful owner because that person cannot be found. We pay about 20 million in claims. The deal is you're supposed to diligently, or the holder is supposed to diligently try to find that person and get their property back to them, and after a holding period, remit to the state. So the 20 million in claims is because the stuff is truly lost. Now, cities and counties are holders of unclaimed property and should remit that unclaimed property to the Georgia Department of Revenue. We have directions on our website and forms so that would help you get that remitted to the state. And that's the contact information. If you have questions about when, how, or whether or not you're supposed to remit something, give Steve Harbin a call at these phone numbers and he'd be glad to help you. In addition to that, check your own name, your family's names, your friends' names on the Unclaimed Property website. We want to return stuff that belongs to people, so definitely want you to check our search engine. It's almost on every page of the DOR's website, and we want to get you back the money that we're holding for you or your family members. Any questions on any of that so far? I've got 2 more people with local government services that are going to tell you all about what they do. And the first person is Jonathan Ussery. He's with the distribution section, and he's going to tell you how we get money out to you guys.